Hello, hi. So I'm back for VEDA Day 20, and I want to talk about burnout. Um, Full disclosure, I think this is like the 49th time I've recorded this video. Been a long day, but I wanted to make sure I showed up, but also showed up well. So I want to talk about burnout because that is something that I am in the process of recovering from. So I sometimes think I'm overstating that. I might be in the process of recovering from burnout. And I wanted to talk about it as a person who has experienced it on more than one occasion. But I wanted to start with the definition because just to, I guess, when I was looking up, I took a minute, sidebar. When I started realizing that I was experiencing burnout, I started doing some Google search to see like what kind of articles you could find to help you with adjusting after you realize you've gone through burnout, but you're making the changes, but you are still kind of in process. So it's not like you can just go immediately from I'm overdoing it to now I will stop. That's not how it works often. And so when I did the research, I realized I did not find really any information out there that kind of helped with the recovery process of burnout. And so I wanted to talk about it because maybe there's other people that feel the way that I do about burnout, but also I want to ask and see if there are some things out there that maybe in my research, because it wasn't like I did a deep dive in medical journals, like I was just looking online and kind of looking at different websites and blogs and all that. What are some places where they give you good insight about burnout and how to handle it and how to recover from it, but also how to continue to be productive while you're going through it? But I also just figured, telling my story, maybe someone else's story is similar. So let's start with the definition. I did a quick Google search, found this article on a website. It's what pops up at the very top. So this is like my lazy research of it, just kind of just checking to see what's out there. And the way that this article just defines burnout is it's a state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion caused by excessive and prolonged stress. It occurs when you feel overwhelmed, emotionally drained, and unable to meet constant demands. So that's how it's defined. For me, looking at that definition, but also just thinking about learning about and hearing about burnout over the years, just throughout life, it always sounds like a singular event. It's like you are moving along in life, da 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 da. When I'm moving along in life, there's like a jingle. Moving along in life, and then suddenly you get burnout. And that's not how it works. As someone who's gone through burnout a few times, I can say that's not how it works. That's never how it's worked for me. And even when I see other people talking about burnout, whether it's in general conversation with friends, if they're talking about it on the news, and kind of there are always news reports and articles that talk about things like burnout around various times of the year when vacation time is coming up, or it's a relaxation push, whatever it is. We're very big into self-care right now, even in spite of every other thing that's going on around the pandemic. There's just really like a big healthcare push that's been happening in recent years. And so having conversations about burnout is something that I've noticed comes up quite a lot, well, more than maybe just not having it at all. Like you see it coming up, and it always kind of sounds like it's just a singular event, but whenever people are talking about it, there's always a conversation about, so I was just pushing myself too hard for 6 months, a year, 3 months straight, or my plate was always full. Like it's always described in a way where it definitely, in the discussion of it, it's always like, oh, it's not just a singular event. It is a buildup of things you are doing and not taking the time to pace yourself or give yourself space to breathe or give yourself space to not do anything. Well, all of that happens over the course of a time, and then you find yourself in burnout. So it was interesting to me to look up articles where they all kind of, their recommendations for how to overcome burnout or solve burnout, I guess is usually kind of how, or how to deal with burnout, how to cope with it, is like, take more breaks, say no, schedule vacation time. It's always things that are kind of like one-off things that can fix it, but they don't always take into account the fact that just because you're in burnout does not mean that the things that you were doing that might have gotten you there, you can stop doing. Because it's often you're in burnout because you might have, a busy time, a busy life work-wise. You can't just stop working because you still have to go to work. So how do you handle it? You might have burnout because you just have a lot of commitments, a lot of irons in the fire, which is often what happens with me. And I can't just stop doing those things because they are things I'm committed to doing in whatever way, and they have to be finished. So, how do you work through burnout while you're still in the middle of life and living and whatever it is that might have contributed to or caused your burnout or caused your ultimate kind of to get to burnout? How do you do that while you're still dealing with those things? I don't know. I would love to hear if someone has like a podcast, a blog, someone who talks about burnout in a more practical term. Just because as I'm discovering, it's not just something you experience, and then you do whatever thing is, you take a break, and then you are no longer in burnout. And how to kind of make it so that you address the long-term effects, but also once you realize you're in burnout and you all begin to make changes, because sometimes it takes time, how do you take care of yourself in that while you're essentially recovering from it, so you don't make yourself, contribute to your burnout, but two, when you start to feel a little less burnt out, you are able to maintain the behaviors that reduced your burnout and not just going back and kind of be like, oh, I feel better now, and we're back into the race. Like, how do you do that? Because that's kind of where I'm at the very beginning. I think I'm definitely in the very beginning stages of that, because I hit burnout. One of the things that I realized was really not being well addressed, and I've never been one to sleep a lot. I've typically, 6-7 hours a night. I say 6-7 hours, but really it's more like 5-6, more so of sleep. That often is fine for me, but that wasn't working. So I realized I needed to, if I couldn't, I couldn't stop working, I couldn't stop the things that I was committed to, so I kind of began to sleep train myself, put myself on a sleep schedule. And when I did that, it helped. It helped a lot. It did not take me out of burnout, but what it did was it helped, because get more sleep is another thing that comes up a lot. It definitely helped. But I noticed that once I kind of got on a schedule and stayed on a schedule, old habits started to kind of come back in, where then I would find myself either getting off schedule or feeling better and kind of thinking to myself, oh, I can do more things because I have more energy, I feel better. But the idea is for me not to I didn't gain extra energy, I gained necessary energy. So I shouldn't take that as I have more. I should take it as this is where I need to stay. And so how do you do that? I guess this is a question video more so than I don't have to solve, because I don't know. Because I've been doing okay, because I was doing really well with my sleep, and then I kind of hit a wall where had been sleeping consistently and started to feel better, and then started to kind of stay up later and not kind of be as diligent. And then I had like a flare where I was not feeling well, and so then I was waking up anyway or not going to sleep. My sleep got thrown off because of that, and then I started to hit a busy phase again, and it's like, wait, I don't want it to revert, but how do you keep that? So like, what's the process? And so I'm saying this, as my experience, because maybe there are other people who have experienced this as well. So you feel like it's not just you. But also, have you found some sources? Have you found some podcasts, some blogs, a book, a TV series, like whatever it is where they talk about it practically. I would love to hear a YouTube channel. I would love to hear about it, learn about it, talk about it in the comments. So that's my video about burnout. It's my experience with burnout. We can talk about your experience. Like I said, I like to have a dialogue where we can talk together. I'm not just talking at you. So what has been your experience? And also, what have you found? What things have you found to work? What sources have you found to help support you in that work? So I look forward to hearing that. And I look forward to next time we can talk again. Bye.